Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Pokeballs Podcast. I am Lee, also known as Osirus, and joined by my co-host. How are you doing, Scott? S9 Vibe as well is his handle, if you wondered, if you didn't know. Hope you're doing well, mate. Still on set?
Yes, still on set. This is the last week, thankfully, because I'm getting very sleepy now. It's a weird because it's weird working on set because it feels like you've been working forever, but then also time's gone really quick. So it's just like bizarre, and then sleep finally catches up with you at some point, or the lack of sleep thereof. And so I'm kind of feeling it at the moment. But like I said, one more week, and then we'll be back. I'll be back at home, and we can do the podcast normally. But no, it's been good fun. But I'm glad this has been a good test to whether we can keep the podcast up. Not that I ever doubted that we could, but it's nice that we've managed to keep it up while I'm stuck in a hotel room right now. So
we passed. I mean, me, the viewers, the listeners have all been enjoying the view from a hotel room for these past few weeks. But we are looking forward to you getting back and not being so sleep deprived and a bit more rested up next week, mate. So I'm saying next week, you'll probably need next week to rest, and it'll be the week after that, and then you'll feel more refreshed. I'm liking the shirt hair combo today. It's all
thank
good.
You. It's actually a whole matching outfit as well. The shorts match at the top as well.
No way. There we are. There we go for our listeners. Scott looks like he's on holiday in somewhere in the Bahamas. Blue, and more blue. It's there's a song there. I'm not going to sing it, but yeah, good though, mate. And please, it's the final week, and things are looking on the up. And of course, we pass with flying colours as well, because we are, of course, still gone, and it is a lot of fun. And big shout out to everyone listening, viewing, and all that jazz. So, lots going on in the Pokemon world this last week. I say lots. There's the snowball has started to roll, especially in Scarlet and Violet. We have had a big announcement as of recording this podcast. We're recording it on Monday evening. So we had the announcement of the Delphox 7-star Tera Raid, as predicted, right here on the podcast. It was announced last night, and we'll be returning to Scarlet and Violet with the 7-star Tera Raids this Friday. So that's the 7th of July, and it'll be running until the 10th of July, which is very exciting. And the Delphox will be a fairy type as well. So it is about time. Really nice to see 7-star Tera Raids kind of happening again after all the shenanigans with the Great Tusk's Iron Treads issues that we had a month ago now. And hopefully this is the start of them kind of back on track, continuing in after this one on the 17th for its second phase. We should get the Rillaboom Raid in between there somewhere. I think actually that week, we'll get into it in a bit, there should be something maybe quite special happening after that. But very, very good, mate, that the raids are finally back. And the mightiest marks.
Feels like we're back on track.
It does, yeah.
To be honest. I feel like there was this obvious weird period where I don't think they knew what they were doing, or they were just waiting, and they did have a plan, but it was annoying, as we discussed many times on the podcast. But
yeah,
hopefully this is a sign of good things. We had a big trailer the other day.
We did,
which is good,
indeed.
And now we've got the raids back, and it just kind of feels like we're gonna start. It will just start snowballing into a lot more things. I know you've got some theories on what's going to happen in the next month or so, which is really exciting. But yeah, I'm happy, and I'm also excited to see what they decide to do. And hopefully we'll get a date for the DLC soon. I mean, we've discussed this a lot, but I think we both seem to be in the conclusion that it's going to be October or November for Teal Mask. So that would make a lot of sense, in my opinion.
I'll fly through the news, and then we'll come back to this, and then we'll pick up on it. So remind me, just say mightiest mark, because I lose my train of thought because I get distracted by too many things.
No worries.
So that was that. As of recording this Tuesday. So tomorrow, as of recording this video, when this goes live, the home update will have happened, but there is a home update scheduled for Tuesday morning, the 4th of July, and it will be, the maintenance period is quite a long one. It's running from midnight UTC till 6 a.m. UTC on Tuesday morning, so a really long period of time. It will be the version 3.0.1 patch, and it will be available for mobile shortly after the maintenance is finished. And for such a significant patch, there's a lot of theory, speculation around data mined information kind of coming out from this update. So we potentially have stuff to talk about next week on the podcast, but do keep an eye out for that. And obviously, if you are a regular viewer of my channel, I will cover anything as and when that update is finished and anything comes out from that. Alongside that as well, Scott, we had NAIC this weekend, North American International Championships. That kind of was the finish of the season, pretty much. The only big major event that we've got left is the World Championships in Yokohama this weekend. It was, not this weekend, later in August. And it was won by Alex Gomez, Spanish player, good friend of mine. And it was nice to see him win an event. I didn't realise the last time he won an event was 2016. That's
Liverpool Nats.
I played him on stream at that event.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
That was the event that I think Orosh had return on his Kangaskhan, Mega Kangaskhan, but it wasn't max happiness.
Yeah, and then he used frustration the nationals after that and won, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
That's funny.
Yeah, I miss return and frustration. Great moves. Alongside the NAIC, though, we did get some announcements for events early into next season. So 2024 season, we've got some confirmation of events in Europe, Latin America, and the US. So that is so good that we're getting events announced now for next season.
Have we ever had events teased this early before?
Never. And it's amazing. It is amazing. So you got to take your hat off. TPCI get a lot of... They get a bad rough of the green when things aren't going right. And I have to say, we have to take our hats off to them when they do a good job. We can't just criticize them when things aren't going right. We've got to compliment them when they do a great job. And this is amazing. Like you say, we've never had events for a coming season announced so early, and we've got dates for them as well, which is amazing. So in Europe, we've got Barcelona, which is the first event of our 2024 season, which
is a special
event, and that's on September the 16th to 17th. Pittsburgh will be the place where regionals will kick off in the US, and that'll be the 8th of September. And then we have a bunch of other events that are kind of following up on that into October, which is super exciting, mate. Really, really exciting.
No, I was on the way back from London yesterday, and one of my friends texted me this. It must have been like 11 o'clock, and I was like, holy crap, I'm well excited now. Because we've been talking for a long time whether they were going to start. See, last season, they started the season late for VGC. And it was really frustrating because in the past, it starts in September normally. And so you get them extra 4 months, which makes a big difference because normally there's a couple of events in there you can get to at least. And there's a lot of speculation to whether they were going to do that again or whether they would go back to what it used to be like. And I'm very pleased to know that we're getting Lil back because I have so many good stories of, well, whether we want to call them good stories, but funny stories about Lil, and then Barcelona will also be really cool.
Stories.
Stories. Yes, Lil was part of those. We'll tell that story one day.
If we go back to Lille, I'm not getting the bus. I am going to be
I'm
traveling.
tempted. I am tempted.
No chance.
If we book it up for up in advance, which we probably will, we can look at other options, but
I'm not getting the bus. So you can get it by yourself, mate.
No, that's fine. I know you don't want to go because I've got the bus twice now, and both times it's been a nightmare.
I will walk and swim rather than get the bus, mate. I'm telling you.
But that's what you get when you pay 20 quid for a return trip to Lille.
That's what happens.
From London, so.
I think Barcelona is a really nice venue as well. Really nice place to have it. So that'll be
really cool. No, I am Barca.
Yeah.
It'll be wicked.
Yeah. So there was that, and that's a lot. Very exciting stuff to look forward to, of course. If you are planning on going to any of these events next season, obviously in the competitive scene circuit, because it'll be for TCG, VG, and I expect Pokemon Go as well. Wouldn't have thought Unite, but you never know. Unite is expanding all the time, so we'll have to see how things play out. But do let us know in the comment section below if you're viewing on YouTube, of course, if you're planning on going to any of these next season, because we probably will, and it would be great to kind of see any of you out there as well. In other news, Pokemon Go. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Go over the weekend and the last week.
Have you? I was talking to someone on set about Pokemon Go because I was sitting outside on lunch and one of the Sparks, and it was I saw Pokemon Go on his phone. I was like, "You playing PoGo?" And it's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, sweet." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I play it with my son." And I was like, "Are you going Go Fest?" And he's like, "Yeah, I am actually. I'm taking my son up there." So I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
We should consider going. I think.
I don't know if I can, because it's
the 5th and
6th weekend.
I don't know. I think it might be.
If it is that weekend, which I think it is, I have had, I got 2 of my best friends coming down to visit that weekend, and it's been planned for like forever. And I didn't know at the time when we were talking about Pokemon Go. This is irrelevant for the podcast, but you can hear it anyway. That was the date. So if it is that date, I can't go, but hopefully we can work something out if it isn't. So that would be amazing. But it is the 7th anniversary coming up. I think it's on the 12th, is it? No, the 7th, I think. I think, yeah. So this event starts to celebrate the 7th anniversary of Pokemon Go, kicking off on the 6th of July. So tomorrow, as of recording this video live, as it goes live. So Thursday this week. And it will be running through till the following Wednesday, which will be the 12th. And you're going to get loads of bonuses with it. There's going to be Blastoise with a party hat available, Pikachu hats as well. They do this kind of every year, which is pretty nice. And there's lots of stuff going on. Pokemon debuts, Wartortle wearing a hat, Blastoise wearing a hat, and then you got all these wild special wild encounters. Squirtle wearing a party hat, Pikachu wearing a cake hat, Meowth, just regular Meowth, I guess. Well, it's shiny. Increased chances of shiny Meowth, shiny Ponyta, and Togedemaru. Tell you what, mate, I got a back-to-back shiny yesterday. I've never had it in Pokemon Go. 2 shinies in a row.
What were they?
A Vulpix and a Wishma. Wishma? Is that the little thing?
Wishma, yeah.
You know, the pre-evolved Exploud?
Yeah.
The first, yeah. Double, like, straight after each other. I was like, no way. It was
excellent.
Amazing. It was very cool. So that's happening this week. If you do take part in Pokemon Go, it's probably worth taking part in it for these exclusive things, increased XP and things like that. And then in other news, Regulation D has finally kicked off. That happened on the 1st of July, and that will be using the new rule set in Battle Season 8 on the ranked ladder and Scarlet and Violet. And that
when does that end?
The Season 8 ends, so it runs until the end of July, but this rule set, Regulation D, will run until the end of August. So the next new rule set will be implemented.
Oh, so we'll get a new one for the...
Potentially, it might stay the same going into the new season, of course. But you are, for the first time, able to use Pokemon transferable in from Pokemon Home. So this is the list of eligible Pokemon now. You've got all of the regional forms that are available in the game, like Alolan Grimer, Alolan Muck, Hisuian Voltorb, all the Hisuian Pokemon, Ursaluna, etc. The new Genie Pokemon, Enamorus. You've got Landorus, Tornadus, Thundurus all coming back.
Disgusting Pokemon.
So you've got all these Pokemon, and it should be a lot of fun if you are taking part in it. But that is started and will be running for Season 8 until the end of July. Regulation D will be running until the end of August, and then that was it, mate. And then there's a weird turtle, and this is just me just flicking through Pokemon Reddit. So that is everything caught up for the news in this week. And I guess we'll get back to the point I was going to make about the Mightiest Mark. And that's all I've got in my brain.
Because you have some theories.
Well, I do have some theories.
Just briefly before you go on. You go off on one. Obviously, for a long time, we had our own theories about the DLC and the Tera Raid Pokemon, because it seemed like they were linked to the masks that we've seen in previous DLC trailers. And unfortunately, because we were trying to work out when the raids lined up, and we had loads of, as we all know, they had loads of problems, so that didn't end up happening. But I mean, Lee has a theory now, which he will explain in a second, that looks very probable. I mean, yeah, there's some interesting stuff come out from the trailer, and from what we know, we finally got the Delphox raid, as we mentioned earlier. So it does feel like the ball's going to start rolling, and now we got another DLC trailer as well. It just feels like we're going to start getting more stuff now, and it sounds really exciting from what you've briefly told me about what you think is going to happen. So,
well, I hope it's not just like all just hot air, really, because I hope there is something
I really
that
hope
comes
not.
from it. I
feel like they must know.
I feel like we are getting a presence. I think a lot of people have said today, with the announcement of the Delphox raid, that the likelihood of us getting a presence is decreased, which I don't really necessarily agree with, because I think they have to. Like, I'll just.
I reckon they'll definitely do one. They'll definitely do one before the DLC drops, but it's just when.
I think
because they haven't teased anything, so it makes a lot of sense to do a present for the DLC.
Yeah.
At some point.
But I think there's more importance for them to do presents because of Pokemon Sleep than anything else. Because I think you can't...
Is Pokemon Sleep that big, though?
Well, I think it will be. And I think it's quite important. It's been in the works for 4 years, and it will be releasing this summer. The Twitter account has been tweeting out pretty much every day, daily. And the Pokeball Plus, which works with Pokemon Go and then is the main thing that works with Pokemon Sleep, releases this on Friday the 21st. So you would imagine Pokemon Sleep will follow that at some point. Now, that's why I think that week's quite important, and I think that is probably the main reason for doing a Pokemon Presents. Also, the TCG as well has a lot of things kind of lining up or happening in it. At the minute, you've got the 151 set.
Well, the 151 set drops in September.
And the Battle Academy set as well. Can you remember in the Pokemon Day Presents where they would the classic collection, which was like base set, like the really prestigious kind of, I can't remember the name of it yet, but you've got that as well. So that's something as well that I think they'll want to kind of promote a little bit further, give details on maybe a date with when that will be dropping. So there's that in the 151. You've got a lot around Mewtwo as well. Obviously, the 25th anniversary of the first Pokemon movie is the 18th of July. So that's a big deal. You've already got Mewtwo being added to Pokemon Unite on the 21st of July. There is data mined information from that last update, the 3.1.2 patch in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, with that battle text about Mew. So there's a lot kind of like Mew's going up against a formidable foe. Whether that's linked to Mewtwo or not, it could be said it could be. It might play a role in the DLCs. I still can't really decide for myself. But there is a lot going on with Mewtwo, and it feels like it's kind of like the first movie. 25th anniversary is a big anniversary. Feels like they're going to do something for it. There's a lot going on with Mewtwo in the other kind of franchise, in the other bits of the franchise, and it feels like you could do something really cool in Scarlet and Violet as well. And because there's a lot to kind of talk about for the rest of the year with Pokemon, DLCs, TCG, probably Pokemon Go stuff as well, Pokemon Unite stuff, and you've got this Mewtwo kind of 25th anniversary on top of that, it feels like, okay, here's a good time for us to do a presents and do a new trailer that's going to really kind of tease a new mechanic about that's linked between the Mightiest Mark and the terrestrialization masks, or the special Terra type, a Terra form, whatever it is. I don't know if the masks will be linked to the Mightiest Mark, but we know there is going to be some potential correlation between the Mightiest Marks and these Pokemon having a unique terrestrialization form in one of the DLCs, and that could be explored a little bit in a DLC trailer. At least it builds the hype up as well as we're getting closer to it. So I think between the 17th and the 21st of July, I'm going to stick to that week as being the week that we're going to get a present, and it's going to reveal everything. And on that date, if it is on the 18th of July, I think they'll do the presents, they'll do the teaser trailer for the DLC, and then they'll end the presents with, by the way, in Scarlet and Violet right now, they might do, if the Mew's linked to it, they might say, oh, to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the first movie, here's a mystery gift of Mew in your copy of Scarlet and Violet. And also happening right now for the rest of the week until the Really Boom event starts on the Friday, you've got a 7-star Mewtwo event to take advantage of for a very limited time only. And you maybe have to use the Mewtwo in that Tera Raid, and you've got no option to use anything else, which would be kind of cool. But we'll see what happens. But that's my 2 cents. That's my theory on it, and let's see how it plays out.
What day is the 18th?
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. Okay.
Tuesday, baby.
That's 2 weeks tomorrow.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a really exciting. I mean,
it's
obviously
it's all conjecture, so it's nothing's.
Yeah. But I mean, we've only had conjecture because they haven't given us anything for ages. So
This is true.
Like I said, it feels like, say, they got to do a presenter before the DLC drops. They have to do one at some point. And if, like I said, if they're doing something in Pokemon Go, not Pokemon Go, in Unite as well with Mewtwo, that would make sense.
Yeah.
And so I think it would be what the game needs right now.
The only thing that puts me off saying that we'll get a presents in July is because if you look at the past presents that we've had, we had one in early August last year. We've had them in June, and we've had them in July as well in the past few years. But I do think we are going to get a big announcement at Worlds this year, because I think, like, it being in Yokohama in Japan as well, we always get an announcement at Worlds. There's always something leaked or teased at Worlds in regards to up and coming games, right? So they're going to do some announcement or reveal at Worlds. The only thing I would say that would maybe put me off them doing any sort of trailer or reveal about the DLCs in the presents would be like a big reveal would be they're keeping it for Worlds. I think they'll do a trailer, but there might not be as much. It might not be like a beefy trailer that we get, and that might be held back for Worlds in August, because it's going to be such a big event, having World Championships in Japan for the first time. So that, I think that could be how it plays out, one of those two ways. But we need information soon. The game's coming.
It would make sense. Yeah. I mean, how far in advance do they normally tease stuff properly? I mean, a game release is a bit different, but I haven't really paid attention with the DLCs in the past. So, when did they tease Crown Tundra and the other one? I can't remember.
The Isle of Armor didn't really get much build up at all, but there wasn't really too much new stuff in the Isle of Armor. There wasn't like any kind of. Wasn't really a story to it or anything like that.
This DLC is going to be like a really a good addition to the game, rather than just like, oh, this is just something we made and added on type of thing.
It did feel like that with Isle of Armor in particular. I felt like it was just kind of like an extra island that you could go and explore. There wasn't really too much story to it. I mean, Crown Tundra is a little different. You got Regidrago and you got, Glastrier, Spectra and that kind of story, but there wasn't really too much. It wasn't like it unraveled additional story that hadn't been told, whereas we've still got so many unanswered questions from the base games, so we need those answered in these DLCs. So that's why I feel like you're right, it does feel like there's going to be a lot more substance to these DLCs than we've seen in previous ones. So yeah, be good.
No, we just have to hope, really. I mean, we thought we would have heard something by now, but it just seems weird. I guess it's difficult for them to try and, because obviously, as we've already discussed, they obviously release stuff, whether it's a DLC or a game, every year now at this point, and so it must be difficult to try and come up with stuff to fill the gaps when we have a player base. Or fans that kind of expect some stuff at this point. Like, obviously, I mean, the people that moan aren't the people that play the game, or the people that always moan are never the majority player base. But the biggest people that play this game are probably kids, to be honest with you, and they don't really care. But for the enthusiasts, which a lot of this is for, really, there's a lot of frustration in the scene, and there has been for a while. So I'm just hoping that they do have a plan, and that, like I say, we don't need a lot. Like, I think the Tera Raid did a really good job of filling the gap, because realistically, what else could you really do until you decide to drop the DLC? And so they did a good job of. I mean, they could have done some things a bit better, but obviously, you can always learn from stuff like that. But maybe because they knew the DLC was going to be really good. Hopefully there aren't any problems with it when it does drop. But again, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think as
But
well.
I'm excited.
I was actually thinking on this today. You know, I was like, okay, well, you know, we were expecting DLCs to drop at a certain date, but if you look at the Tera Raids, right? So if the Mightiest Mark is related to some sort of special terrestrialization form or unique signature terrestrialization form in the DLCs, right? There's going to be, because there has to be one Pokemon per type, so there's 18 types, right? So if the Mewtwo does drop, right, and the Rillaboom does drop, that's 12, so that leaves 6 left. And if they do, so that's pretty much, you know, one every 2 weeks. That would be 12 weeks, right? So that's 3 months from July, August, September, October, which would take us into October, which could kind of indicate if they have to fulfill all of those 7-star.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't actually have a date yet.
Yeah.
And it is heavily dependent on exactly what you're saying. These special Tera Raids that have the types, and they have to cover all the types before then. And that's the reason they keep putting it off. Now, obviously, and that's probably the reason why, for both, obviously, it makes sense because they definitely don't know the second date until they know the first one, because they probably know how long after they're going to drop the second one, which is why they're so vague with the dates.
Yeah.
Which would make a lot of sense, really.
On the trailer, they're still covering their backs by saying planned release. Fall, planned release winter 2023. So that it's the planned release. It's not a defined release yet. So I think you're right, mate. I think you are right. But interesting nonetheless. And we'll wait and see. I think that the announcement of the Delphox raid is the big one. You know, I think that gives us all a lot of hope going forward for the games. It gives us something to do as well. And obviously getting Delphox is, you know, something that was probably meant to happen before Pokemon Home, but you can't really help how things have played out. Like you say, mistakes do happen. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But getting back to a point that you were making as well, you know, the release cycle that they have now is so brutal when you really like boil down to it, right? Like every year they're putting out some sort of new content. It is pretty like demanding on the company overall. And it definitely, I think, like, it's weird. I was playing Legends Arceus.
Games companies struggle to put out games,
yeah,
you know, that they've spent 5-6 years on, and they're still flop, you know, let alone fucking every year.
I was playing Legends Arceus earlier, and honestly, like, I was thinking, man, I've already said how much I like the game, but the game is so good. It runs so smoothly, you know, and for them to put that together when they're in the midst of developing Scarlet and Violet as well, because that would have been on a similar sort of timeline, right? Like Legends Arceus probably would have been just before Scarlet and Violet started, but they would have been simultaneously being in development. I think, and it is a lot to kind of produce something like that as well, and then that the following, like, that released in February, and then, you know, like 8 months later, you're getting the Scarlet and Violet full brand new main series titles. So yeah, it's crazy to think, but they do it. And obviously we talked about it last week, the black and white remakes potentially coming. I do have a feeling that they're going to be like fully fledged games. I just, for some reason, just feel like they're going to be.
Yeah.
But we'll see, mate.
Oh. Yeah, we will see, because they obviously plan stuff in advance, so they obviously know what they're doing.
We just want to know.
I doubt.
We just want to know.
Yeah, we just want to know.
But
they got to hold the spice. They got to hold the spice. They got to hold it back. So
yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be boring if we knew what the roadmap was for the next 10 years of all the stuff that's coming out. There's no hype then, is there?
No hype at all. No hype.
I just want to go back to Tera Raids quickly. We mentioned that the Mewtwo, it might be a Mewtwo Tera Raid. We were talking this before the podcast. We had a lot of people saying that they wouldn't want the Tera Raid to be 7 stars. They prefer it to be 5 or 6. And me and they were talking before this, and we were like, we were expecting them to be even harder than a 7-star Tera Raid, to be honest. I don't think the Mewtwo one necessarily would be. I think it would just be a 7 because I feel like they might say that's for the DLC. That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But like even a 7-star one, like you gotta think like people are moaning that the games are getting boring. You know, the Tera Raids, we got to a stage with the Tera Raids are like, they're easy to crack now. We've done loads of the 7-star Tera Raids. Everyone knows the drill. They can be some are more difficult than others, but you know, most of the time you can use Annihilate, or you could use Iron Hands, or Slow King. Like there are certain Pokemon that can just body like most of them anyway. And so, you know, a challenge is kind of what's needed at the moment, and I think a 7-star Mewtwo Raid would be really cool. And I don't really understand these people that are moaning, really, because it'd be good to get a Tera Raid. That'd be really hard, because all of a sudden, you know, it's way more interesting, because you're going to have all these people trying to work out how to do it. It's just like, it's not like a challenge is what we need right now. When there's nothing else going on, like a 7-star Mewtwo Raid that is like hard to do would be awesome. And I hope that is what we get, because I want it to be difficult.
It will be difficult. Yeah. Like, honestly, like there is these people that are wanting it to be a 5 or a 6-star Tera Raid. I don't know what planet you're living on, because there is no way they're going to have one of their biggest mascot Pokemon appear in a weaker Tera Raid than what they put a Pikachu or one of the other first partner Pokemon in, you know. That's going to be a 7-star raid minimum, and it's going to be juiced up, and it's going to be harder than anything we've ever had in the games, to prove that it's a legendary Pokemon, you know? It has that status.
Yeah, it'd be boring if it was easy. And it's Mewtwo as well, right?
Yeah, it's Mewtwo as well.
It's meant to be powerful as AF. You know, like, it's not meant to be easy.
Just look at the base stat total difference between like a starter Pokemon and Mewtwo. It's actually ridiculous. Like, and then you look at the move pool that Mewtwo's got and the signature attacks that it's got, and if it is a psychic Terra type as well, and it's got double stab psychic type attacks, it's. Are there
any Pokemon that have come through with Home that would make it easier to do? Not easy to do, but
its coverage is so good. I haven't honestly no. I haven't started looking, but its coverage is so good. So it will really depend on. It's something I should probably look at. You know, I'm so confident that we're going to get it. It's just something I should start looking at builds for. But I do think its coverage is so good that it makes it really difficult to kind of prepare for.
Plan for, yeah, because it could have. Obviously, it'd have a psychic type move, but then like, what are the other moves?
It'd probably be like Psy Strike, wouldn't it? With signature attack.
Yeah. And then is it like Mewtwo where where it can learn like any TM?
So like Mew can, and I don't know if it can in the new games. I don't know if it can Scarlet and Violet. It lost a bunch of games. It lost a lot of moves in the transfer over, so I don't know what Mewtwo lost, but it still gets. It can't learn everything, but it learns the majority of stuff. Yeah. But I mean, its coverage is amazing. It gets fire, it gets electric, it gets ice, it gets dark, it gets ghost, it gets. I don't think it gets fairy, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did. Obviously, it gets psychic, it gets fighting. It's nasty, man. Yeah. It's nasty. It gets recovery as well. It gets nasty.
You're going to get absolutely bopped with. Loads of things get bopped with.
Bodied. And forget about bringing Annihilate to this raid. Like, I think forget about bringing Annihilate to the Delphox raid. So if it's not going to do well against Delphox, it's going to just get absolutely bodied by Mewtwo. There's no way you're bringing an Annihilate to a Mewtwo raid, especially a psychic type one. It doesn't matter what Terra type it is. You're not bringing Annihilate to that raid. I think you probably need. There will be some Pokemon. There will be specific Pokemon, I think, that will do a good job and absolutely roll over it. But what they are right now, I don't know. And we have to know a little bit more about the sets that it's running. We have to know how. I think the big important thing with the Mewtwo is learning when the shields go up and when it resets your side of the field and its side of the field drops. Because all that information, those 3 bits of information, along with the moveset, allow you to kind of crack the code to figure something out. But because you can theorize as much as you like, the theorizing part of it, of course, massively helps when it comes to the raid dropping because it speeds the whole process up a lot. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. But I know a lot of people. I know I'm going to go into it the first time as well. I'm fully confident that if they do drop it, I'll go into it the first time feeling confident and get absolutely bodied by it.
I think everyone will. Again, it's because...
Oh. And that's what I want as well.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we want.
It'd be good.
Bro.
Be really good. But I just hope they run it for a good length of time. Like I mentioned before, they drop it for a short period.
Or if it's hard, you need more time.
I think 2 weeks or something. I think 2 weeks would be really good, and then continue on with the cycle, whatever you're doing. But yeah, it'd be great, and then it could give us a taste to see what the 7-star Tera Raids would be like going into the DLCs, because they're going to continue them, and it's probably a way that we're going to get, you know, legendary Pokemon in the future. They'll do all the Mightiest Mark Pokemon, I'd imagine, if they do have special terrestrializations, and then they might continue them with. I mean, they can do Spotlight Tera Raids as well, but hopefully they don't stop doing the 7-star Tera Raids once we've got all 18 Mightiest Mark Pokemon. Hopefully they keep doing them. Just have them have Pokemon that don't have the Mightiest Mark, but because they've changed the description of the Mightiest Mark as well. It used to be description pre the latest update. It was a reward or a symbol of a Pokemon from a 7-star Tera Raid, but they changed it to be from an especially strong Pokemon now, or something along those lines. What are you eating?
Apricots.
Apricots.
I'm hungry.
Apricots.
I had a mad stomachache this afternoon. Like, I was in awful pain. I was almost going to say I don't want to do the podcast, but I was driving back to the hotel.
Eating too many apricots.
No, I don't know. I was trying to look at what I'd eaten today. Then I come back and then I said to you, can I have a quick shower before then? And I don't know what it was. I don't know whether I fancied a warm shower because it's been cold today. And I didn't bring any tracky bottoms with me, so I've been freezing all day. And I don't know, I just had like a nice warm shower and I don't know if it just relaxed my body, but like it all kind of just disappeared.
Weird.
Which I'm really grateful for because, I mean, it was horrible, but yeah, pretty brutal.
I hope you're feeling.
I'm hungry now, so that's why.
Tuck in, mate.
I've got some apricots.
Tuck in. But yeah, so that's the 7-star Tera Raids are going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see as well when we get into the DLCs. Are they going to do something similar to Dynamax Adventures that we got on Sword and Shield? How they had all of the legendaries accessible through that Dynamax Adventures feature. Are they going to do something similar with Tera Raids to get the legendaries, or are they just going to drop them by events? The one thing I would say though, sorry, I'm going to kind of cut in before you can answer that. We'll come back to it. If the Mightiest Marks are really important to special forms in the DLCs, I do feel like it's a little bit unfair on the player base. Like, it's fine because Pokemon are expecting you to take part in them, but there will be players out there that are like, I don't need this Pokemon I got in Pokemon Home, and they haven't been told about the importance of them in the future, so they've just been like, I don't need them. But then when it comes to the DLCs, the only way to get the Mightiest Mark on these Pokemon is through those raids. They were exclusive for like 2-week periods, and you missed out because you weren't aware of the importance of them. So you don't have access to these special terrestrialization forms, and you're going to have to wait however long until they rerun the event again, if they ever do, you know?
Yeah, but I think if you're someone who not like a casual player, but if you're someone who pays attention to the Tera Raid and skips the Tera Raid for that reason, I think it'd be silly of you to think that, oh, I've got one in home, so I'm not interested. Because it feels like if you're clued up and you're excited for the DLC, then you must know about all the stuff that's happening. And so in my head, you must know that these Pokemon could be important. So I think that it'd be silly not to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, it's for the casual fans. I mean, I'm sure they won't, because I don't know. Like I say, it's hard to say, but
it's for the players as well that are like buying Scarlet and Violet now. Say if it's someone's birthday now, and they're just getting it like today, and they've missed all of these events that have happened up to now, and they're not going to have the chance to get these Pokemon again until,
Well, if it has some relevance to the DLC, as in it's important, there will be a way to get it, because it just wouldn't be fair otherwise.
But there wasn't for a lot of the Gigantamax. Well, I guess they had the Max Mushroom, didn't they? They had the mushroom soup that you could make in the Isle of Armor, so they did have a way to get it. Gigantamax forms. If you'd missed the events already, it was a pain finding those gigantic mushrooms though in the Isle of Armor.
But they gave you an option.
They give you away.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm excited for the different facilities that will potentially get in the DLCs as well, mate. I think there's a lot of talk about
Battle Tower.
Oh, Battle Tower in the Indigo disc in the Blueberry Academy would be insanely welcomed by the community. I think it would be such a good thing to have. Be great. The one thing I always wanted to talk about was it was rumored a long time ago that they were going to have a facility where you could change your stop doing that with the apricots. I'm not even going to explain what you're doing to our listeners this week with the apricots, but because you don't want to know. Anyway, it was rumored a while ago, a long time ago, that in the DLCs, whenever they dropped, we were potentially going to be getting some sort of facility to manipulate, change IVs as we wished in the game. So it would be a bit like a showdown facility that you could kind of play around with any of your Pokemon for a specific item, and you could change the IVs.
I'll tell you what, it does feel like they're going to get to that stage eventually, because, I mean, they know that people gen, right? They're not stupid. As we've discussed, unfortunately, a lot of competitive players are gen because they don't have the time to build a team. If you have a job, like, it's difficult to do, and it's just one of those things in the community that's you're not meant to do, but everyone kind of knows that everyone does it, so... Because it doesn't affect, in the end of the day, it doesn't affect...
I'm going to say now...
It's not giving you an edge.
I don't do it, and I'm not...
Yeah, I know. I'm
not condoning anyone that does do it, but I choose not to. So the regionals I've competed in this year, my teams are all being made in-game, everything caught, as it should be. And for all the Sword and Shield stuff as well that I did in all previous generations that I've done, I've enjoyed building my teams in-game. As grindy as it is, but Utrecht, I was up pretty late that night, wasn't I? Finishing off that
we
team.
were both up late.
Oh yeah, you were helping me. Yeah. Grinding Terra Shards. Because the Blissey event had finished. Or it hadn't dropped by then or something. So yeah. But you were so right. The barrier to entry is so high.
I feel like they want to get away from that.
Yeah.
Because like I said, for that reason, the barrier entry, so it puts off a lot of people who want to get into the competitive scene.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spend hours doing stuff, and it also stops people from genning, which they obviously don't want. They don't want people to do, because they don't want people to hack the game, obviously. So we've gotten to a stage now where you can decrease IVs, but they're a pain in the bum. You have to get the berry. No, wait, you can't decrease IVs, can you? You can decrease EVs.
Still
you can obviously use vitamins. That's been a thing for a long time.
Yeah.
You can max out your IVs. Like I said, you can't decrease them. You can change natures now, which again you never used to be able to do, which is obviously big. And then Terra type is a new mechanic, so that's not really important. But and with egg moves as well, they've even made egg moves a lot easier. So they sort of get into that stage now, and it feels like,
TMs are a pain in this game though. TMs.
Oh, the TMs are a pain in the ass.
Because the
they need to change that mechanic.
Yeah, Pokemon material. Like, the specific times when you need a specific TM, it is a pain to go out and find those Pokemon.
Running out to go kill, 12 Scatterbug before an event because you're like, oh, I need Protect on every Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. Love it. Why do they make us do this stuff, just give us the TM and let us use it as much as we want.
Either, because they're so small. So you're running around fucking aimlessly trying to look for these tiny little black dots that are on the screen.
It's not a coincidence.
Just hidden in the bush.
The Protect is the most used move in the VG as well. So
that's what I mean. So annoying.
Such a troll, such a troll. Hopefully there's a way for us to better that in the new games. Like I've said all along, mate, I think the answer to this is, and I'll repeat myself again, but I think every generation, when you get a new game out, this is Scarlet, if you're wondering, you get Generation 9. Along with it, you get a battle simulator game, like a Pokemon Colosseum, like a Pokemon Stadium game. But it is specifically for that generation. And you don't do any online battling on the main series card. You've got the option to go online and battle players, but there's no ranked ladder on it, right? You can trade, you can do all of that stuff, but there's no ranked ladder facility on the main series title. It is all facilitated on a battle simulator, and it would be like Pokemon Colosseum, Scarlet and Violet, Pokemon Colosseum, or Pokemon Battle Revolution, Scarlet and Violet. They could even outsource it to a third-party developer to develop the game like they've done with all of those other battle simulators. Pokemon Stadium, I'm pretty sure was. I'm pretty sure Battle Revolution was. All of those games, just get someone to develop it, and then you control the ranked ladder. All of that happens on that game, and there is a facility in there. As long as you've got a copy of the game, you can go in and you can create rental teams from scratch in those games. You can still trade in Pokemon for those of you that want to build your teams in your game. Still create your team in your game, and you can trade it across to the battle simulator to use. But if you don't have the time to do that, you don't want to do that, you can just create your teams in the battle simulator and use teams. It will get rid of that barrier to entry.
The thing is as well that makes me laugh. Not laugh. Is it like? So for those of you that don't know,
do you like that idea though?
No. I think it's perfect. Really. I mean, like a battle tower type situation, whether it's on a cart or like a DLC, like a downloadable DLC thing that you can use. But yeah, no, like, what was I going to say?
I like the emphasis of me pushing the cart into the camera to push my point.
Throw it at us. But like, so for those of you who don't know, if you play competitive, whether you play the VGC, the TCG, or Go, I mean, Go's a bit different, and so do Unite. But they each have their own way of practicing, right? Like, of practicing stuff without buying the deck or building the team in game. There are websites that exist. TCG Live. You still have to get the cards in TCG Live, but it's not as expensive to get them. And then Pokemon Showdown is the main one that's used for competitive Pokemon. But am I right in saying that it's not official, and also they don't acknowledge that it exists?
No.
And so it just seems weird to me that they haven't come out
on the desk. You cannot refer to it.
That's what I mean. So it seems weird to me that they haven't come out with their own competitor, because they know that everyone uses Showdown, right?
Oh yeah.
Showdown has its problems, and that, you know, they could definitely one up Showdown. Not dissing Showdown, because, you know, it's been fantastic for years. I've used it, obviously. It's a great tool.
You know, my idea would have been, if I was Pokemon, I would have just went and hired the guys behind Showdown and said, can we hire your team to help us develop this? And then you give these guys that have been running it for the last decade or whatever, however long,
money.
You give them a job, and it makes your life a lot easier then, because they know season on season, new games coming out, how everything runs, right? How everything needs updating. The new rules get implemented all the time. They've got all these unique ladders and new formats all the time kind of popping up, and they manage all of that. And they could do a similar sort of thing.
They've also got all the data as well, right? I think that's the most important thing. You've got all the data, and it's all organised.
It's such a no-brainer.
Pokemon could get hold of, but obviously they got to organise all that, and they fucking it's a lot of effort. Because
it is a lot of effort. It's big.
They've had that data for ages.
I think it would be the one thing that would make competitive from here to like here. It would make it in like everyone wants Pokemon to be like VG to be an esport, right? And it is going towards that process, you know, like the work that's being done by TPCI, it is getting closer and closer to that. But the barrier to entry for it is always the thing that's holding it back. And I think if you had something in place like that, I think that barrier to entry is taken away, and you do then get events where you're going to have, you can't share an event hall with TCG anymore, because you're going to get that many players coming into play, and you can still charge your $60 or £60 or €60 entry fees for events.
But if they're still charging €60 for like, and they're getting like 3,000 people turn up for VG.
They
I
will.
still think that's a bit of a piss take, but
They will. Prize money will be more though, so you can't really complain.
I guess so. If the tournament structure is decent, which, again, I know we moan about a lot of stuff, but obviously, because you've been playing for longer than me, but I've almost been playing for 10 years now, we have our frustrations with the format. We understand it's not going to be perfect, but the prize structure and format structure has been a problem for a while. So hopefully by that point, it would be a lot better. I mean, it would have to be, really, if you had that many players.
I think you could probably run a
more
concise online circuit as well if you had your own standalone game
exactly
that was a battle simulator, because then it's not, and it frees up the developers that time that they would be taking. You know, how long does it take them to program all the ranked battle stuff into the games, and how much resource does it take them every single month? These are like main series game developers, you know. They're obviously not the developers, but they're part of the team. You know, if they could outsource that, it would free up those people to do other things based on the main series titles and on such a short schedule that they've got, releasing stuff all the time. And you don't need to release a new battle simulator every year. You only need to release one with every new generation. Yeah, you could update it, but I would say you just release one every new generation, which is every 3 years. You just release a new one. And that's a good schedule, right?
And that's all there's going to be, is like a reskinned version of the past one.
Yeah.
Anyway, with some new Pokemon.
Yeah, with extra facilities, updates, and things like that.
It would just be like FIFA. It would literally be like FIFA.
It would be, yeah. And you could you could even have a pay-to-play system in it as well, you know? As much as I don't really want to see that, but you could get, different...
Let's not give them ideas, please.
Different outfits and stuff for characters, customization.
A battle pass would be really cool. A battle pass would be cool. I wouldn't mind a battle pass, but yeah.
Anyway. Great. Yeah, you could get a battle pass, and it could give you could even buy your registrations to regionals through it.
That would be cool. If you could, that would actually be really cool.
Register your teams for regionals through it, so you could do it all in a cloud-based system.
Okay, that'd be sick.
Hire me.
We won't have to use that. We will not name the website that's used for submitting teams. That one, yes. Which is really horrible to use.
I'm interested to see how they get on next year. I think, they've had a lot of issues this year, but they've had a lot more registration spots, haven't they, as well? So we'll leave that for another episode.
We'll leave that for another rant.
Yeah, but we're getting close to the hour, mate. Have we got any Scott's Goodie Bag this week?
We've got one thing, and I thought it was quite funny. Okay. One thing.
Are you going to Discord it to me, or?
Yeah, I'm going to Discord it to you. Let me just...
Cool. Let's do it. What is it this week?
I actually haven't fact checked this, and I feel like I should have. It's not anything serious, but it's also just funny. So, we can speculate in the comments whether we think this is actually real or not. But I did actually see it somewhere else, not just on Reddit. So, maybe there is some merit to it. So we'll see.
Waiting patiently here.
God.
Do you know how much of a grind it is to get Enamorous on Pokemon Legends Arceus? I got that 4IV one, right? That I've already got. And I'm currently going for a second one, so I can have an offensive one, and I can have the one. If I decide to, I'm probably never going to use the slow one, but I'm like, because I've got the 4IV one, I want to keep that. So, it's
the grind.
The grind. It is real. Right. What have we got then? I mean, we've all been there. The girl who lives in delusion. This is the most insane grouping of letters I've ever read. So this is a tweet from the girl who lives in delusion, who is Maylor in the Haze as their handle. And it is a tweet from Pop Tins on Twitter. This is for our listeners, everyone. The tweet says, Playboy heir and Hugh Hefner's son, Marston Hefner, rebels against his wife's wishes as he turns to OnlyFans to finance his obsession with Pokemon cards. This isn't real, is it?
I don't know.
This isn't real.
I need to have a look. Let's have a look.
This is not real.
Hefner's son Pokemon.
He would be lauded though if he's Hefner's son.
There's an independent article about it, so it must be real.
No, I can't believe this.
I'm sending it to you now. Ow! Discord's having a fit.
This is not correct. Have you sent it to me? Have you?
Yeah, I've just sent it on Discord. Yeah.
All right. There we go. Here we go. There is a full article on it. A full article in the Independent. Hugh Hefner's son takes to OnlyFans to fund his Pokemon obsession. And this is too far. We're not gonna watch this video. It's not. So Marston Hefner, the son of late Playboy founder Hugh Hefner, has launched an OnlyFans to help fund his love for collecting Pokemon cards and comic books. 33-year-old Playboy is that Scion referred to his OnlyFans career as a long-term avenue for further financial security. In the interview with Page 6, however, Hefner admitted that his wife, Anna, isn't crazy about his new endeavor, which you wouldn't be. You wouldn't be, would you? You're like, what are you playing at? Like,
I'll buy you Pokemon. Your dad is loaded. You can buy all the Pokemon cards you want.
sell some of the limited edition magazines that he left you, and fund your Pokemon.
It might be a bit
way.
sticky.
She would rather not be on OnlyFans, but that's more important to her is me pursuing my dreams or my interests, taking risks, said Hefner, who identified as bisexual AF on his OnlyFans account. Hefner, who married Anna, is it Anna? Yeah, in August 2022. Wow, that's not long after they got married. Said he would support his wife if she ever wanted to join the platform. Come on, my dude.
He's basically like, look, babe, if you want to do it, you can do it, but I'm going to do it because I need to buy me some Pokemon cards.
There he is. There, yeah.
The absolute Donny.
What's he buying? Like seriously, what is he? What cards is he buying? It doesn't go into
what cards
detail.
are you struggling to buy? Unless he's trying to buy like the illustrated card that Logan Paul has, or like first edition. But that's not even an expensive card that he's holding in his hand.
It's a Neo Pichu.
You can buy that for like 80 quid.
Is that a first? I don't even look like a first edition. I can't load the Instagram for some reason, but yeah, that is not an expensive card. So yeah, I don't know. It feels like a bit of a publicity story. If
Anyway,
it's true or not, I don't know. That's Scott's Goodie Bag this week. A bit more R-rated than usual, and I still don't believe it. I mean, to be fair, if just get a second job,
or just use the money that you have. It just seemed weird. Anyway.
Well, yeah, that was
yeah.
I don't even know. I'm just speechless that Marston Hefner is on the OnlyFans train, following his dad's footsteps in true fashion. Imagine if Hugh was around to run an OnlyFans these days. Not him personally, of course. You know,
if he had one set up, it would have been wild.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what you've done, Scott, to the pod. This is week 15. It has been a crazy ride since we started. 15 weeks of doing this. Thank you so much to each and every one of you that keep coming back every week, and to our new listeners and new viewers each and every week. Today's been a bit of I've enjoyed today's podcast, mate. It's been good talking about a bit more in depth about Scarlet and Violet, potentially what's to come, allowing me to indulge my crazy theories. Hopefully they do come true.
I don't think they're crazy.
Really great.
I don't think they're crazy. This one has a lot of merit to it. So.
And I like the discussion. We'll maybe go a bit more in depth on it at some point down the line about the battle simulator. I really do feel very strongly about this being something that we see to expand competitive Pokemon, especially in VGC. I think it would be really good, but it's been really nice having a chat with you, and I hope the rest of your week is nice and easy, mate, and you finish up on set and everything's all good by the end of the week. And I cannot get Scott's Goodie Bag out of my head now. So thanks for that.
You're welcome. Mm-hmm. So let's not ramble on.
There will be no reporting back on checking out of anything like that either next week. So
I kind of want to dig into it. To find out.
You do that for us, and you report back since it's your thing.
Okay, I will do.
You got Fund Marston's Pokemon collection.
Thank you, everyone that has listened today. I'm just going to check Spotify quickly to see how many. We had 20 reviews the other day, which was awesome.
Wow! Thank you so much to everyone that's reviewed.
You need to check on, because I can't do this, on the Apple Podcast to see if we have any reviews on there, because I can't see that.
Can you not?
No.
I'll do that for next week. We'll not do that live on.
We have 22 reviews now.
That's
thank
brilliant.
you everyone who has left a review, and if you're listening, you haven't. Just it's a quick one on Spotify. Just leave a quick review. It helps a lot.
It really
does help with our rankings. But yeah, and obviously let us know what you want. We say this every week, but if you have any ideas for the pod or stuff we think we could improve on, always let us know. We're always happy to hear what people have to say. So
yeah,
there's always room for improvement. But no, thank you very much for listening. And is there anything else you want to say, Lee, before we go?
Nothing. Let us chime in with Wake Up. It's going to be a good day, because I hope all of you have a great rest of your day. And we will see you in next week's episode with even more exciting topics to talk about from the Pokemon universe. So goodbye from me, and
bye.
Everybody just do your thing. Wake up. Today's going to be a good day.